Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Grace Pathway Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Roberts, and we have another good story in store for you today. But as always, hit that subscribe button, like, share, comment. We are so blessed that we have this platform to share good stories of good people at Pathway Church and all that God's doing in and through their life. And so I've invited somebody that I love dearly, Isaac Castleberry. Hey. Welcome, my friend. As you're formerly known as Isak. That's not true. It's not true. But your biblical name is Isak. Yes. We call you Isaac.
Isaac. Yeah.
Bro, it's good to have you, man.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
This is your dream. You're living out your dream right now.
People might know. Some people might not know. It's been a podcast talked about. You've never been on a pod. I've never been on a pod.
But you want to be a podcaster.
I want to be a podcaster, yeah.
Well, he's gunning for my job, and so I'm glad to have you on, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, and we got to tell people because you're heavily involved in our church. You do a little bit of everything. Mm-hmm. You serve in high school ministry. You're on the worship team. You're on the tech team. You've done a number of different things. You help out with Alpha when they need you. You're CR. You're kind of everywhere. But we met a few years ago, and there was some secret beef between us. I didn't even know there was beef.
Unknown for you.
I didn't know there was beef, but apparently there was some beef here. I got told, did you know, Isaac, there's something going on between you and him? I said, I didn't even know there was. So for the people watching, we got to break this down. What?
Oh, man. It was day of live stream. I was on live stream for a Sunday
and you were
service.
Mixing. You're one of the audio engineers.
Engineer. I get all the stuff, get all the labels, get people who are on the worship team. I see this Matt Roberts guy. I think I've been doing live stream for like not even a year. I don't know where this pride came from. But I saw you on stage, and I just started doing worship like maybe months or so prior. Okay. I saw you on stage, and you were leading a song, and I was like, wow. This guy who's never been here, in my knowledge, this is to my knowledge, who's never been here ever, just jumped on stage leading a song. I'm like, wow, praise you anywhere, by the way.
Oh my goodness.
What a great song. But it like threw me off. And I was just like, who is this guy? Tim, where's my song?
That's right. You're like this guy comes out of nowhere, brand new guy, and he's immediately on stage leading a song. Little did you know I'd been a part of this church for a hot minute.
For way long.
10 years prior, done like 3 years, and oh my gosh, that's too funny.
Yeah, everybody's loving on you. I'm like, this guy, he seems cool, but like...
But the ruling's still out.
There's this wall.
They already don't like him. Let's write him off. There's tension. Yeah, and so that's how we kicked off our relationship. That is how
it was like. It went on for like weeks. Like it was, I think a month.
And I'm pretty sure someone told me, they're like, hey, you should talk to Isaac. And I was like, cool. It's on a meeting. They're like, yeah, he's got a beef with you. And I was like, wait, what? And so I think I went up to you and I was like, I heard there's a beef between us.
And I was like, and you're like, no, there's not. And I don't know what I'm talking about.
So good. Yeah. So good. Yeah. Oh man, that's hilarious. But now, dude, I appreciate you. And you're also one of our rising leaders as well, which has been cool to have you be a part of. And for this year. But so many people know you, so many people love you, but not everyone knows your story. Well, I knew that originally you moved here a few years ago, but you came from Oklahoma. But let's go back even further. Are you born in Oklahoma? Where's home for you?
I was born in Texas, actually.
Born in Texas?
Yeah, Plano, Texas. And I lived there for like about 3 weeks, and then we immediately moved.
So basically, you were born there.
Yeah, I was born
in Texas. Got it.
But we immediately moved to Seattle, which was a completely different place. So,
okay.
I lived in Seattle, I think, for like 5 years.
Okay.
This is all because of my dad's job. He was IT for different companies, and so they got moved around a lot. And so I lived in Seattle for about 5 years or so. Great place. Been to Space Needle like 100 times.
Right.
Great place.
Did you like the weather? Because it can be a little dark and depressing at times.
I think as a kid, the weather was like the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
Like because I was very little, so it was super cool. The rain. Our school had a huge outdoor like playground area and had a little forest built in.
Oh, cool.
And so
very PNW, Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And so every time it would rain, it would like flood really bad back there, and we would take sticks and make ditches to drain out the water in the park.
That sounds about right.
So yeah, it was pretty. It was
kids are built different in the PNW. They're just like, it's raining. This is another day of my life.
Another day. Yep.
When it snows, it's like, yep, go to school.
Oh, yeah.
California, if it rains, it's like cancel school.
Yeah.
We can't survive.
I'll get to that.
We'll get to, so you're in Seattle. Then where
After Seattle, I moved to the greatest place. This is for you, Bill. This greatest place is Chicago, Illinois.
Shout out to Pastor Bill, our former Chicago guy.
Yes, lived in Palatine, Illinois, which is like 45 minutes from Chicago. Greatest place on earth. The weather, summer, it's like it doesn't get past 70, 72 degrees. So everything's just neutral. Then winter comes and you just get snow blizzards. I love snow.
Do you love snow?
I love snow.
That's awesome.
And so we got snow blizzards, everything. And so there is like it like 20 inches of snow. They're like, nah, keep going to school. You're good.
It's like below freezing.
Yeah.
And it's like,
and like
everyone has to go to school.
Normal. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, lived there.
Built different.
Built different. Lived there for 6 years. It was great. Had some rough patches. Had some stuff along the way. But then we moved to Texas. And
back to Texas.
Okay. Yeah. I lived there for about 5 years. We moved to a town called Frisco, Texas, it was kind of it's not a small town. No, it's not small, but it wasn't really a well-known town. And then all of a sudden it exploded out of nowhere. And the Dallas Cowboy NFL team now, their training facility is now there.
Oh, wow.
It's super cool. It's really, really blown up since I left. And so then I lived there for about 5 years, I think. Then I moved to, or maybe I lived there for like 4 years. I moved to Oklahoma after that.
So what was the pull to Oklahoma?
Oklahoma. So my parents got actually divorced when we lived in Chicago. That's why I moved to Texas.
Oh, wow.
And so that's where my dad decided that we were going to go. And so my mom moved down there, and it was also closer to family.
Okay.
My family lived in Oklahoma, in Stillwater, Oklahoma. And so we moved down there. They were going through all that, and I was just a kid, so I kind of just going to school and going
How old
through
were
the
you
motions.
when your parents decided to separate?
12, 13, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, so
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, that middle school age. Yeah, so that wasn't fun. But went to Texas. Texas was, it is my least favorite place in the United States.
Okay.
And that's a hot take for a lot of people, but I don't like Texas.
It's a no for you.
It's a no for me. It's a no for me. But lived there, went to public school. By the way, I went to private school in Chicago. And so for 6 years I was going to private school, private Lutheran school, actually.
Okay.
And so went there, then after 6 years, went to Texas and went back to public school. That was like a complete culture shock change.
Yeah.
Public school is a wild place, but
especially in Texas.
Especially in Texas, where the public middle school felt like a college. Like the campus is huge. Everything's huge in Texas. But
and everything's all about their football.
Always football.
Friday Night Lights.
Football. Friday Night Lights. Everything.
It's real.
Yeah.
Is it as real as they make it feel like on the TV? Okay,
100%.
Yeah,
100%. It's such a big deal out there.
Yeah,
which is great because I love football. But
you don't like the Texas football.
No, we don't like the Cowboys.
So you mentioned going to a private school, Lutheran. Was your family Christian? Were you born to a Christian family? Okay.
Yeah, born in a Christian family, grew up Christian, parents are Christian. We went to church every Sunday. It was great. I've never not known God, but it didn't become real to me until maybe 2011, I think, is when 2011 is when I got baptized. Wow. And so that, I think at that moment I kind of knew what was happening, and I was like, oh, this is real. And then fast forward to Oklahoma, that's when I got really real. So that's when I started actually like
so where were you in 2011 when it like light bulb went off and you said I'm getting baptized? Were you in Chicago or were you in?
We were in Chicago at the time, but every year we would go visit the family that I actually lived next to in Oklahoma. We'd go visit them every year for Christmas.
Okay.
And so I got baptized at their church in Oklahoma.
In Oklahoma.
So I knew about Oklahoma before I even moved there. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
now in your family, you said your mom and dad, they separated. Any siblings in the midst of all of this?
Yes. Yeah. I got a brother and I got two sisters, and so that was kind of rough for all of us.
Yeah. All biological.
No, we're all actually adopted. So my two sisters are from China. And so they got adopted right when they were born. And then my brother's also from Texas, and he also got adopted right when he was born. Wow. And same with me.
So what was that like? I mean, being born into an adopted family, which one is awesome.
Yeah.
That you have your parents would take you on and take all four of you in. But to grow up with a home that They don't look like me.
Yeah.
Mom and dad don't look like me.
Yeah.
Like, brother kind of, but no, we don't look alike. Yeah. But, what was that like, man?
It was good. It was really, really good. I think our differences kind of brought us together a lot of the times because it was like we were always the family that adopted 4 kids. And so, and we had the most kids always in the neighborhood. 4 kids was a lot back then, I guess. But it was good. We got along pretty well. Obviously, there's some like, I don't know. I think biological kids get along a little bit better because they have that connection. But us being adopted didn't really, since we were all adopted at the second we were born, basically, we grew up together. So in our eyes and in our hearts, we're all part of the same family.
Are you oldest in that? Where do you fall in the family
I am
order
the
here?
third child.
Third.
The best child. The third child.
You're on the pod, man. It's truth. Whatever said here is absolutely true. So you're the best.
Yeah, the third child.
Sorry, Joe. I know you're watching this. I don't believe it. But.
Yeah. Joe's the first. Then I have an older sister. I'm the third, and I have a younger sister.
Oh, I thought Joe was the baby.
No.
I thought. Okay,
he's
Joe's
the oldest. First. Yep. He's the first.
Okay.
So,
man.
Yeah.
Okay, so adopted family. Parents go through separation, which is hard.
Yeah.
Hard any time of your life, but you're 12 years old. How do you navigate that as a 12-year-old?
Not very well. I didn't navigate it really well at all. It kind of just like threw me off. Like it obviously it was like a big old like, whoa, this is changing. Because now it's like, oh, now I got to spend time at my dad's house, mom's house, different people picking me up from school, just completely.
They all in the same city, or was dad staying in Chicago, or they all moved it down to Texas?
We all moved in the same city, yeah. So they were all in the same city, just different houses. And so it was very interesting. It was not fun. At first, it was like, as a kid, it's like, oh, we get 2 Christmases, 2 birthdays. But in reality, it's like, that's not what I want. That's not at all. I want to have it all at the same. And so...
and you joined public school.
And I joined public school.
So going from private Christian Lutheran,
yeah.
So very legalistic and very, you got to do these things, and it's got to, do you have a dress code?
No, we didn't have a dress code. That was one thing we didn't have.
Okay, all right. Because I went to Christian school, and so I knew that if your sideburns got beyond a certain length, you're getting written up.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's good.
Yeah.
Going from that to public, a new state, your least favorite state, parents divorce, and now you're in public. Like, talk to me about your faith journey in all of this.
God definitely took a backseat. Like, all of a sudden, I knew he was there, but it wasn't like that. That wasn't at all what I was focusing on. Didn't even think twice about him. Yeah. And so, it was a struggle because we didn't go to church for I think a year after we moved there, and so we kind of found a church as we lived there longer with one of the staff at the school. Actually, she invited us to church, and so we went there. But it was like an hour drive away every time, and so it was kind of hard for us to do that. And so we didn't go every Sunday, but we tried to go as many Sundays as we could. But it was kind of a struggle. I would read devotionals, I think, every day, every morning, just trying to keep myself in that mindset, trying to keep myself going. But definitely wasn't like the forefront of my life.
Yeah. Well, and especially after you kind of experienced this mountaintop experience in Chicago.
Yeah.
Like where light bulbs are going off. Mm-hmm. You decided to get baptized, and then all of a sudden,
crash and burn.
Yeah. And burn.
And so.
Okay, so you're in high school. You're figuring out high school life and faith and being apparently my watch is trying to give you an answer. That was weird. You're in high school. You're navigating with your siblings. You're going through life, and then on top of that, then what? Tell me fill in the gap from Texas to Oklahoma. What transpired? Is that after you graduated high school, or
this was before? Yeah.
Oh wow! So in the middle of high school, you move.
Yeah.
My gosh.
I moved. I think at the end of 8th grade. Yeah, at the end of 8th grade, and so actually in the middle of 8th grade because I finished 8th grade in Oklahoma.
Okay.
Yeah, and
so Oklahoma then was all high school.
All of it. Yep.
Okay, got it.
Greatest years of my life. I love high school.
Really?
Especially that high school. That high school was very different. It was like usually, I mean, I don't know how many high schools, but usually it's like there's like the jocks, there's the cheerleaders, there's like different cliques and stuff. Our high school was everybody was all one. Like there was nobody that really had their own clique. Like it was all just everybody got along together.
Some modern day High School Musical,
awesome.
bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
So it was awesome. Every time there was a new student, by the end of the day, that new student would have like 30 friends. Like
really?
it was everybody was always.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it was great. Great high school. Love Stillwater High School. But in between that, I started going to that church that I actually got baptized in, because my uncle was the pastor for that church.
Okay.
And so started going there and completely changed my life, because I finally got to actually focus on God for once in my life. I started going to youth group, which I love youth group. I have these my youth pastors, Caleb and Taylor Parker. They are phenomenal people. They completely changed my life. Everything they did in youth group, they just led me through hard times. All the church camp stuff, everything, all of it. I love them all.
Wow.
So it just completely changed my life.
Formidable years.
Yeah.
High school years. And I love that you shouted out leaders, because I feel like I always say, like, it's sometimes it's these youth pastors that have to make the impact. Really, it's the leaders that are there.
Oh, yeah.
And, sometimes it's just consistency. It's like if you're willing to show up and just be present in people's lives during these formidable years, you build these, like, roots that I feel like you have of, like, I always have to be in church. And not just be in church, I got to be in community within church, and I got to be serving at my church. And that's something we always are pushing our young adults, which you are in, a part of, which I love that you have that. You kind of already modeled that. But it's cool to see how it's been taking place all the way back to your high school days, where that was big. So you go through high school, have these great experiences. Your faith is on a new high. You've been baptized. You've been saved when you were a kid. What happens next? What brings you to Redding, California? Or am I skipping something big in the midst of all of this?
Not much. So my uncle, his children all went to Bethel. So, or not all of them, but most of them. The first two, he has 6 children. The first 2 went to Bethel.
Okay.
And so
you knew about
I knew about Redding. I knew all about Bethel.
Yeah.
And so some people from Bethel actually came to our church and spoke a lot of the times. And so we were very interconnected with Bethel. And so I remember 2019, I think. 2019, when COVID hit, basically. It was my senior year, and it got cut short because of COVID. And so we had to do everything online, which kind of sucked. But after that, we all graduated. They had to push back the graduation ceremony and everything, the talk, the walk on stage and everything. And so they pushed it back to July. And so my aunt and uncle, I think a year before I graduated, actually moved to Redding be with most of their family, with their kids. And so they went from Oklahoma to Redding. And so my graduation present was a plane ticket and vacation to Redding. And so I came here and went to the beach, went to Whiskey Town, went to Shasta Lake. It was great. And so one night when I was here on vacation, I was praying, and I was praying until 2 a.m. I was just sitting there on my bed just praying and just worshiping the Lord. And then I felt like he said that I needed to move here. This is the next place in my journey that I need to go. And so I was like, all right, let's do it. And so I came back, and I told all my workplaces, all my friends, guys, I'm leaving. I'm going to Redding, California. This is real. I'm going. And so
any hesitation? That's a big move. You're just I've moved already. How many times?
Exactly. At this point, I'm I just got to keep moving.
And it's a great time to move. You just got out of high school. It's kind of become who you want to become in a lot of sense. Yeah.
And so, and at the time too, I wanted to go into kind of film and acting and all that. And same with the other Isaac. He wanted to do that. And so, I was like, what better place than California? Little did I know, Redding, California is kind of different from the rest of California.
Completely. Not necessarily the homemaking of filmmaking, but...
True. But there actually are a lot of opportunities here for film and musicals and stuff.
It's California.
So, yeah, exactly. So it was cool.
So you come, and obviously you got more connections with Bethel. How did you end up at Pathway?
That's a fun story. So when I moved here, I worked actually before I moved here in Oklahoma. I worked at Chick-fil-A, and so love Chick-fil-A.
Closed on Sundays.
Yes,
Thank you, Kanye.
Thank you. Helps us.
That Chick-fil-A sauce, though, I'm so glad they put up in Walmart.
I know in the big box. I know. I remember that came out. I was like, nobody's ordering it anymore because they already have it.
They already have it. It makes every frozen nugget from Costco feel like the best piece you could have ever had.
Yeah,
because of that sauce.
Yep. So that was fun. I loved Chick-fil-A Stillwater. Greatest place ever. Greatest place to work. I don't know how I got other jobs anywhere else because I really didn't want to leave that place. So I worked there, and so when I moved to California, they supported every bit along the way. They gave me raises the closer my move date got, so they would help me get more money to move. So it was the greatest.
Scott's chicken right there.
Yes, sir. Love Chick-fil-A. And so they also wrote me a recommendation letter for the other Chick-fil-A that just got installed in Redding at that time.
Oh, down on Churn.
Down on Churn Creek, and so they gave me a recommendation letter and sent me on my way. And so I moved, and I immediately got a job at Chick-fil-A in Redding. And so that was cool. That was really cool. And so in that job, I met a girl who's actually the daughter of Kevin Cry. And so then at that point, I stopped working at Chick-fil-A and I moved over to Ninja. And so Ninja Coalition started working there, started getting more connections with everybody. Then I met the infamous Tim Hawkins.
Guy's everywhere.
He's everywhere. And so I met him. We were doing a ninja build, and he heard Isaac singing, and he invited Isaac to the other Isaac Wilson, and to Pathway. And Isaac was like, "Oh, we should go to Pathway," because we went to Bethel, I think, when we moved here a couple times, and it wasn't fitting. And so we were like, "Oh, this isn't really kind of what we want." And so we stopped going to church, and then he got invited to Pathway. Went to Pathway. I was like, "This is the coolest thing ever." Tim's like medleys he does for worship, super cool. It changed how I viewed worship a little bit, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool." I like how Tim kind of flows every song together, and so that's how I ended up going to Pathway.
Yeah,
and then I got tapped in, and Tim asked me, he's like, "You want to work audio?" I was like, "Sure," and so that's when I met Nate Granger.
Yeah, you went to the rigorous training, and now you're here.
Brutal, brutal training with Nate Granger. It's horrible. It's the worst.
Whatever. Nate's literally right now behind here
No, he's not.
to this. So yeah, shout out to Nate Granger.
Yes, sir.
We love Nate. My goodness, what has been? And that was what year was that? You said it was after COVID, so we're in 2020.
I moved in 2021, June 2021.
2021. So you've been here now a couple years.
Yeah, almost 4.
What has your time here been like?
Crazy. Crazy is the best way I can put it, because it's been a blessing. For one, I've got to meet so many cool people, so many awesome people who love the Lord, who love just being here and forming community with other people. I got to meet some really, really cool people through Ninja, like all the Ninja Warriors and stuff. Got to do all that, meet some Olympic champions. Super cool. But just going through, since I've moved to Redding, I've moved into 3 different houses, and all of them have been when we moved to Redding, we were calling around, trying to find a place, because we still didn't have a place when we moved. It was just one of those I'm gonna move, but if I don't have a place.
You guys moved without a place to rest your head.
Yep, we were just looking. We had an idea.
To be young.
We had an idea, but we just left, and so it was looking for a place. We couldn't find one. As soon as we moved, we found one. I think a couple days into moving, and so that was great. The next house right before we moved, we were getting kind of kicked out, but it was more he's raising prices, and so we were oh, I don't know if I want to move here. My boss Kevin Cry, he's oh, I'm actually moving out of my place. You guys can stay there until you find a better place. So oh, sweet. So another thing that God provided, just God has just been putting steps in front of me, which is super, super cool to see. And so I think that was the biggest thing I've noticed since living in Redding, California, is how much God provides what you need instead of just what you want. And so, because I know everybody's gone into prayer and they're oh, I want this, I want this, I want this. But God's answering your prayers no, you need this, you need this, you need this. And so just seeing how he kind of just laid it out in front of me as we're walking is the coolest thing ever.
I appreciate you and your perspective, because I think so often God's constantly meeting needs.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes, because it's not necessarily our wants, we tend to belittle God's provision.
Yeah.
And what I'm hearing you say is like, it's just been this constant state of, God, if you don't show up, I don't know what else is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a great place to be. And I love that you're doing that, and you've been doing that now in your years before you even have a wife and kids and things like that, because that will ultimately lead to a family that's abandoned for whatever the Lord wants.
Yeah.
And not that he's going to direct every step,
Yeah.
you know, he's not going to have a clear banner saying, hey, Isaac, go here, plant your head here. But he promises, like, as you go, I'm with you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've given you a mind, so be wise, be smart, be good steward, but I'm also like, I'm in your corner.
Yeah.
You carry my power, you carry my authority, you carry my spirit wherever you go. And so, dude, I appreciate that. I mean, you are so loved, bro. Everyone who knows Isaac Castleberry is like, they're better off, and they love you. I was telling you yesterday, we went for our Jamba run, and I told you, Jamba.
Shout out to a lot of Russians.
We're just giving all the plugs here. We're not sponsored, but if we could, Jamba would be number one.
Jamba would be number one.
And Chick-fil-A, that also. But I was telling you yesterday, I'm like, it's just been, you're so gifted at anything you put your mind to. And I'm excited to see how God continues to open doors, close doors, guide you. And, you know, as we were talking, I'm excited to see you continue to take those strides. Mm-hmm. That, God, I'm trusting you as I'm moving what I believe in, what's best for me and what you've called me to be the best version of me for the gospel and for what you're doing. And so, man, I appreciate you so much. One of the questions I always love to ask everyone who sits on the pod, just because I think it's a powerful, you bring such a different perspective, having moved so many times, coming from an adopted family, being saved and born in a Christian home, but then having your own struggles and journeys along the way. What would you say to somebody who may be on the outside looking in going, like, man, if I was in that situation, I would have already crumbled, or I can't imagine moving, or I can't imagine being adopted or anything like that, like, or even just I'm on the outside looking in of like church and the power of importance of what it means churches for you. Like, what would you say to somebody, like a word of encouragement or advice, or what would be the thing you'd leave them with?
I think I would just say, don't lose hope, and it's like faith is a big thing for me, and so don't lose faith in what God has to provide for you, because He'll always provide for you no matter what. He's always going to be there, and so don't lose hope and don't lose faith and trust in God. How do
you do that? Like, because I think that is
hard,
right? But like, how do you? What are some of the things you do to help you? I don't know, the markers or the things that you do to help you not lose faith, especially as a young man, where the world is against you. Like, especially you're a young black man in Redding, California, and you've got people. We have a lot of people here who are cheering you on, but you got a lot of people in the world who are they're just, I don't know, they're not for you. The devil definitely ain't for you.
No.
And but you got God behind you, and you got all this potential ahead, and that can be a very overwhelming thing of what's my future look like. And how do you keep faith in the midst of that?
I think a big thing for me is community, just having constant reminders, putting yourself in positions to have constant reminders about God's faith and God's trust and stuff. So going to church and just stepping into different fields of your life, and praying and reading the Bible and just making sure you're in the atmosphere. The majority of your life, basically. Just keep going in the atmosphere.
So if you're not in that atmosphere, what I'm hearing you say is get in that atmosphere.
Find the atmosphere. Ooh. Find somebody. Text somebody. Call somebody. Go after it. Basically, that's what I'm saying. Don't wait on God. Go after it.
Knowing God's got you.
Exactly.
We found our thumbnail. Find the atmosphere. That's good. Atmosphere. No, that's good, bro. I mean, that's a good word right there, because I think so many people they're searching for a place to be. They're searching for a home. They're searching for community. They're searching for direction. Not everybody wants accountability, but we all need it. We all need that. Sure. We all need those people in our life that are going to be willing to have the hard, honest conversations to go hey man, we see this. And also you need people in your life that are going to be like, hey bro, we see you right where you're at, but God's got so much more over here if you just step into that.
Those are the best kind of people if you have those in your life.
Man.
Best kind of people. If they just tell you like, hey, this isn't it. We need to change something up.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. Yeah. And being willing, and you're such a guy that's like willing to just like embrace the hard conversation, but also like, humble enough to also take accountability, which is I commend you for in a really good way. So my guy, I appreciate you taking time. Thank you for blessing Pathway, this church, so many students, young adults, anybody who knows you, the worship team, the congregation is blessed because we're better because you are a part of this. And so, bro, thank you. I'm excited to see all God does in your life, man.
Yeah, I'm excited too.
Yeah.
I'm really excited.
Awesome.